What's up, everybody? This your favorite cousin, back again. And today, we're going to talk about the search for meaning in a chaotic world. The search for meaning in a chaotic world. Whew. I believe the world is chaotic on purpose. The world is chaotic on purpose. It gets you caught up into all the illusions and the things that don't really matter. That's why we have to ask ourselves these questions. The question of the search for meaning. What is life? We have to ask ourselves these things because of this chaotic world that they steal our energy from. So, the noise that the world has is what blocks us from being able to find our true meaning in this world. We get caught up in the materialism, we get caught up in the social rankings, the social hierarchy, we get caught up in the labels, we get caught up in all this chaos, we get caught up in the news, we get caught up in natural disasters, we get caught up in all these things. A lot of these things don't matter. Well, natural disasters matter, especially if it's around you or your loved ones. But the other things, the social hierarchy, the labels, the materialism, all these things don't matter. But as you know, these things have a lot of noise. They create a lot of noise. Politics, noise. Everything is noise. And all this noise is on purpose. All this noise is on purpose. It's purposeful because it keeps you from really aligning with who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing. If you really look at it, if you look at like the birds and the trees and the animals and plants and all those things, don't you see how they're just like chilling? Don't you see how they're like not stressed about much or anything at all? They don't worry about food. They don't worry about purpose. They don't worry about anything. They just live. And I believe that's how, as humans, we're supposed to be. We're supposed to just live. We're not supposed to be caught up in all this worldly stuff. We're supposed to live. But we get caught up into the worldly stuff. That takes us away from being able to live properly. That takes us away from really having the true meaning of life. So the true meaning of life, I would say, is just to live. It's to love. It's to be present. It's to enjoy as God intended. Because I look at the opposite of things. If the powers that be is running this world, and we say everybody's focused on A, and the powers that be tell us to focus on A, and the powers that be benefit off of everybody focusing on A, then what's B? What's B? What's the other option? What's the other side that they don't want us to see? Excuse me. If somebody didn't benefit off of our energy, if someone didn't benefit off of us wanting these social rankings and this social hierarchy and these labels and materialism, if someone didn't benefit off of that, then what would we be doing? How would we be living? And I think that answers the question. We would just be living. We would just be love. Everybody would be equal. It wouldn't be, oh, because I have this, I'm better than you, or, it wouldn't be any of that. It would just be the basics of life. It wouldn't be much. But I think we get caught up in the worldly stuff that they've forced on us. And we have to keep up with the worldly stuff in order to survive. Now it's like I said, the meaning of life is materialism. The meaning of life is social hierarchy. The meaning of life is, all these things that's not really relevant, especially to God. But if that's what the meaning of life is to the majority of people, they're lost. If that's the meaning of life to a majority of people, then they're caught up. They're caught up into the illusion. They're living in the illusion. That's where they got them. Can't you see like there's no real peace when when you live by those things, when you live by materialism, when you living in the chaos of the world? Don't you see there's no peace? Even though you think you may have peace, even though you may have the biggest house on the block or the nicest car in the parking garage, or the best title, after your last name and all these things. Don't you see that you're still not at peace? When you really sit down, you're still not at peace. This is why. Because the true meaning of life, the true purpose is not rooted in these things. These are the things that they told you you're supposed to be rooted in. These are the things that they told you because they benefit off of them. But as I say, what happens if they don't benefit from them? What happens when you sit down and say, I relinquish the materialism, I relinquish the social titles and the social constructs and all these things? What happens then? When you're not relied on your Ferrari to speak before you do. What happens then? And you really search for something. That's when you find peace. The true meaning of life is not these things that they told us. I continuously say it. The true meaning of life is to live. That's it. But somewhere down the line, someone was able to steal that from us. Someone was able to finesse us. Someone was able to hoodwink and bamboozle us to thinking that it was all these other things. And we fell for it. I don't know why it was so easy. I don't know if it's that how the human mind is created to where it's easily impressionable if it's not exercised by its own doing, or if you don't purposely exercise your mind to make it stronger, to think for yourself and to live for yourself. If it's not exercised, then you just accept what's being put out. I believe it becomes weaker and you become easier or more susceptible to accepting what society and accepting what the powers that be tell you to do and how to move and how to think. Think about it. You go to work all day and you work to have this house. Not even a house that you really like, but you have a house in the neighborhood. You don't even really like the neighborhood. You don't really like the people in the neighborhood, but you bought it because of a social status that you know that comes along with it. You have this foreign car. You don't really like the foreign car. The car's a lot of money every month. Maintenance is through the roof. All this. You're not really happy with the car, but you got it. Why? Because of the life that they told you you're supposed to live. So you keep sacrificing your time, sacrificing your peace, sacrificing all these things, living in the chaos of the world, because all this is the chaos of the world. You're living in the chaos of the world. You're not tuned into who you are. You've given up your soul. You've given up your soul. Why? Because you decided to trade in peace for comfort of the world. Literally. You are at peace if you're not searching and your whole life's mission is not these things. You're at peace when you relinquish these things. Now you're in chaos of the world, tied into the chaos of the world when you accept that mindset, you accept that life to live. Disclaimer, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have like a nice house that you enjoy or vehicles that you enjoy or anything. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that, is it at the expense of your peace? Have you subscribed to someone's plan for your life and not your own plan? That's where the issue comes in. It's really messed up when you really think about it. It's really messed up how so many people, live for the approval of other people. How so many people have involuntarily signed up and is stuck in the chaos of the world. It's really disheartening. Especially when you step outside of the matrix and you look, from the outside and you see how everybody's caught up. It's really messed up. It really is. Because you see these people chasing. It's like the carrot and the horse. And you keep chasing the carrot, the carrot, the carrot, the carrot. Because they said that this thing that you're going to achieve is going to ultimately bring you peace. And this is what you're supposed to do. So you're chasing this carrot. And you never get it. Not knowing that if you don't chase the carrot and you release that carrot, you're already there. If that makes sense. Because the carrot is the life that they promised that you would have if you did all the things according to what they said. But if you release that and say no, you've already gotten the carrot that fast. Why? Because you're not chasing a life that someone told you to. You're living on your own accord. Now you're not signed into the chaos of the world. Many people will not be able to achieve this. I would say voluntarily. Especially they won't be able to achieve it. Why? Because people are too comfortable living in the chaos. People have gotten comfortable living in the chaos. A lot of people are born into the chaos. Like I said, too many people are comfortable living in the chaos to where it's too hard for them to not live in the chaos. It's like a fish out of water. A fish can't survive out of the water. And a lot of people can't survive without the chaos. And I'm not talking about people who live in drama or anything like that. I'm more so speaking on people who live in the chaos of the world. Living in that chaos of the world, and you're not able to really think for yourself, move for yourself, live for yourself. When you subscribe to live in the chaos of the world, you've given up your right for your own peace. You've given up the right for your own sanity. You don't benefit anything from it. So the trinkets of life that you think that you benefit from, the cars, the house, the quote unquote marriage that you have, you really just picked your spouse for social ranking. You got the hot wife, so you get looked at the Christmas party, so people think that you're really doing it. You got the hot wife, you don't really like her, It's the same with the car. All these things are just trinkets that you acquired in hopes that you find peace through the chaos, not knowing that you release all these things, the fake wife, the fake life, all these things. You release all these things, and now you're finally at peace. But they have all this chaos on purpose. They know if they keep you riled up, they know if they keep you, engulfed into the chaos, and you really not, if you sign up for the chaos and you're really embedded deep into the chaos, it's going to be too hard for you to leave. Like I said, you're going to be that fish out of water, trying to survive. How is that going to happen? That's how far and how deep people have gotten. I believe it was a certain point to where it was easy for people to escape this quote-unquote matrix or escape the quote-unquote chaos. I believe it was possible. But not right now. Not right now, no. Especially not voluntarily, like I said. Now, involuntarily, let's say, for instance, economic crash happens or something like that happens to where people are forced to relieve their trinkets of life. But sometimes, even though it's involuntarily where they may have to give these things up due to like an economic crisis or losing their jobs or whatever case, even if it's due to these things, some people still hold on to the mindset now that even though I lost these things, I'm a nobody. Why? Because they're still caught into the chaos of the world. See how messed up that is? That even though you've lost all these things, you're still caught up in the chaos of the world. And that goes to show it's really just purely just a mindset. No more, no less. It's a mindset that you live in. And that even people believe that, oh, you're only caught in the chaos if you have the material items to show. You're only caught in the chaos if you have the cars to show. You're only caught in the chaos if you have the job title to show. You're only caught up in the chaos if you have the social hierarchy to show. You're only caught up in the chaos of if you have the actual material thing to show. But it's not true. Because you can still be racing and chasing these things and still be caught in the chaos. You're just the have-not who's stuck in the loop of trying to find peace in the chaos. But you trying to find peace in the chaos is not you on the outside looking in of trying to find the peace. You're in the chaos trying to find peace in the chaos through the chaos. Hope that makes sense. I wonder how many people who stuck in the chaos know that they're in chaos. And I would like to ask them, when did that become like, when did they know? You know? I believe it's like a bottle, like a soda, and you shake the soda up so much to where it's ready to just shoot through, you know, where it's ready to explode. I believe that's how people who escape the chaos, you know, what happens to them. You know how like the soda's getting ready to explode, but you don't open up the cap. That's a lot of people who stuck in the chaos. They don't open up the cap. And something happens to where somebody just slightly opens that bottle cap, just ever so slightly. And that pressure and all that, you know, just explodes and push that bottle cap open. And all that pressure is relieved now. And all that liquid from the bottle is escaping. You know, that soda is escaping that bottle. And that's the person escaping the chaos to find peace. But what is that initial bottle cap opening for someone? You know? What pressures them to want to get all that to escape? That's my biggest question. Because a lot of times people will not escape it, even though they know that these are the problems. And I believe they won't escape it. Like I said before, it's because the reason why they won't escape it is because they're comfortable in it. That's all they know. That's all people know. You know, it's funny, like they say, people always ask you, what do you do or where do you live? They always ask you these things, not necessarily because they're interested in actually knowing, but how to judge you. If you say you do this or you live here, they automatically put you in a box instead of just, boom, taking a step back and accepting you for who you are and letting that flow effortlessly. And that's all being caught into the chaos. You see? You see quickly how quickly we'll judge somebody or quickly we'll put them in a box depending on where they live, what they work. Not knowing if they're a good person or a bad person. This all caught into the chaos. And how does this tie into the meaning of life through the chaos? Easy. Because when you're caught into all this chaos, the meaning of life is no longer here. The meaning of life is actually to accept people. It's to love. But how can you love somebody when you're caught in the chaos of quickly judging them of where they live, what they drive, what they do, who's their wife, who's their husband, where do their kids go to school, what sports do their kids play? So I say, if you want to find the real meaning of life through all this chaos, take a step back. Just take a step back. Live for you. You may have to release certain things, but that's okay. Because the things that you're releasing are more than likely either materialistic things or a mindset. But the things that you're going to gain are so much greater. And it not may be equally comparison, but the peace that you get is going to be so much better. You may release your Mercedes for a Honda Civic, but now you're much more at peace driving this Honda Civic than the Mercedes. You can't find the true meaning of life when you're caught into You can't find the true meaning of life if you're caught into the distractions of the world. It's impossible. They made it like that on purpose. All of this is just a one big illusion. It's like I'm speaking for America, but honestly, it goes for the whole world. Because in America, we're on one end of the spectrum as far as us having abundance of resources, abundance of, cars, and abundance of materialistic items, and abundance of everything. Anything that you want is here in America. That's the illusion that we're caught in over here, that chaos. But if you go somewhere to a third world country, you can say, oh, they know the true meaning of life. Depends. I believe it's easier to know the true meaning of life if you are a have-not, but you can still be caught into the illusion of life. You can still be caught into the chaos, even if there is no, or there isn't an abundance of resources, isn't an abundance of materialistic items, isn't an abundance of all these things. Why? Because your perception of life may be struggle. Your perception of life now may be, poverty, maybe being a have-not. So the same way the powers that be over here said, you're something if you have something to show for it. Over there, the powers that be may have made it to where they take up all the resources for themselves to leave you with nothing, to think that that's what life is. It's nothing, that you're supposed to struggle. You're supposed to just not have anything. You see, so it's two ends of the spectrum. It's not just, because we live in America, we're set up to be a part of a system because we have all these trinkets. Not necessarily. Because the same way people are caught up over here, the same way people caught up over there. Like the chaos is like static. You ever watch TV back in the day? And like the TV would have static while you could barely see the image. That's the way it is out here. It's like you can barely see the image of life. And the image of life that you're trying to see is like peace, true happiness, true love. You're trying to see these things. Really experiencing, places. And for what God intended them for. You're really trying to see the true picture, but all the fuzziness. Now imagine if the fuzziness was on purpose. And what do? You have to go to the back of that cable, back of that TV or the cable box and tighten up that screw. You have to tighten up that cable. And now the picture becomes what? Clearer. So that's the thing. You have to connect yourself with source. Sometimes our plug, and this is how we get disconnected and lost into the chaos, is because our plug to source has gotten loose. So the looser or the more weakened that your plug to source is, the more disconnected you are from source, or the looser that cord is to source, is the more fuzziness that your TV will project to you. If you get where I'm coming from. The further distance you are from source, the further distance you are from God, creator, universe, Allah, Buddha, whoever you choose, see fit. I'm not here for a discussion about that. But whoever you see fit, the further that you are from that source, the further that your connection is, that cable that you have, like the back of the TV, the looser that cable gets, it's the fuzzier your screen is. And the fuzzier your screen is means that the more that they have the ability to manipulate you to fall into their system. The more that you are to sign up for the chaos that you see ahead of you, thinking that that is life. Didn't God say you should want for nothing? Then why are we wanting for something? Like literally, if you look at the birds, look at the, you know, do they look like they want for something? They fly around. When it gets cold, they go down south. When they need to use the restroom, they do it anywhere. Just when they're hungry, they go find their food. And then the rest of the time, you just see them chilling. When it's hot, they go find shade. Same thing with animals. You ever seen animals like just chilling in the wild? They just chilling. When it's time to go hunt, they go hunt. When it's time, and then other times, what they doing? They chilling, playing around, chilling. So what makes us so different? Our intelligence? Which leads me to ask, is our intelligence a downfall? Or the lack of not using your intelligence a downfall? Meaning, is the intelligence of the human mind to be able to manipulate or be able to have people sign up for something that they didn't want to sign up, is that so advanced that we're able to manipulate people, and us, by manipulating these people and having them sign up for things that they didn't want to necessarily sign up for, that wouldn't be for their benefit but be for your benefit, is doing that going to be the downfall of human? Because now people are not living in their true purpose. People are not living and doing the things that they're supposed to be doing and living. Therefore, we're missing a whole, we're missing something. And what if that thing that is missing is what's needed to balance out the scales of life, balance out the scales of the world? And if it's not that so if it's on the other end that we're all as intelligent, then we must, like I said before, not allow people to take our minds because it hasn't been strengthened and use it for their benefit. We must take our minds and strengthen it ourselves. So, how do we beat the chaos? To find the true meaning and purpose of the world? Number one, strengthen up that cable to source. When you strengthen up that cable to source and you rely on that cable of source, imagine it's like a feeding tube. Once you connect yourself to source and you living through source, you start relying on source even more and less of what the world tells you that you need. And once you start living in that even more and more and more, now you're able to really see through the fog. You're able to see that, source blessed me with this. I don't need that. I'm more at peace with what source blessed me with than this. I'm more at peace with living this type of way because I connected with source, and source told me and showed me and opened my eyes, versus having my eyes closed and living upon what someone else has told me. Like I said, all of this is caught up in the chaos of the world. And all of it is designed. It's perfectly designed. Because the more fuzziness that your screen has, is the more energy that they're able to win. The more energy that they're able to receive. It's almost like, literally, imagine if you're watching a fuzzy TV and you're hypnotized from it and you're stuck. You're just hypnotized. You're stuck. You're just watching the fuzziness. You're not able to do anything else. That's literally what it is. Until you go to the back of the TV and you tighten up that cable. That's how you beat it. But now, the thing is, it's easy to beat. How do you wake up from it? How do you know you need to wake up from it? How do you know that you're even asleep? It goes two ways. Are people so deep in a coma now that they don't know that they're asleep? Or is it going to get so bad for people to the point where they really start questioning there has to be another way for life? and are willing to go and search for it. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that there's another meaning to life, that this can't be life. I'm pretty sure deep down somewhere in the back of somebody's head, they have to know. But the thing is, are they willing to go search for it? Hope this helps somebody today. This is your favorite cousin. Hope you're able to gain something from this. Y'all be safe. Love and blessings.